What's up, guys? Good night, good night, good night. All right, guys, as you're entering the live, just drop your city below so I can see where you're watching from. Drop your city below. So when you enter the live, just drop your country or your city below so we can see where you're watching from. All right.
Welcome to.
Tonight I want to talk to you guys about haters. Right, I feel like people get too caught up in what other people think, right? You can't worry about what anybody else thinks, and I feel like it's a big thing with people now where they're worried about, what other people might be thinking. That's one of the number one reasons why I stopped going on Instagram as I used to. I used to go on Instagram a lot. I used to be, a big fan of, the Instagram platform. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Instagram, but I find that, you know, on Instagram is just a lot of people that I have grown up with, a lot of people that may have known me for many, many years. And I just find that like on Instagram, people are just watching to watch, right? Like, there's people that, when I post on Instagram, they literally jump to the stories to see, okay, what is this guy doing and how could I copy it, right? There's one thing, if you admire what someone does, is to say, all right, you know what? I love what Cash does and I'm going to copy what he's doing, but I'm going to give him credit for it. There's a lot of people who copy what you do, but they don't necessarily give respect where respect is due. And that's where I have the problem, is that people would literally study what you got going on, copy everything you got going on, but they will not give you the credit that you deserve. And I had to stop putting myself in places where I'm not valued. You get what I'm saying? I had to stop putting myself in places where my value was not seen. Hello, what's up, Muraf? Muraf? I had to put myself in places where I was valued. Okay? And that's why the title of this video today is Don't Worry About Haters. And most of the time, when people are copying you, there is something amazing that you are doing. Sometimes people see greatness in you before you see it, right? And a lot of the time that's what it is. You're destined to be great. You have a calling on your life. There's so much amazing things that's awaiting out there, but sometimes these devils, they'll see you before you know who you are. You get what I mean? And that's why I say, you know what? I had to stop and really think and say, you know what? I'm gonna start putting myself first. I'm gonna start valuing myself more. I don't need anybody else to validate anything that I have going on. You get what I mean? I don't need anybody else to validate anything that I see myself doing. Guys, what's up? What's up? If you just joined the live, what's up? What's up, brother Brandon? Brandon, what's up? Brandon from Japan. Welcome, Brandon. What's up, brother? What's up? Tonight I'm just talking about these haters, man, and just trying to give you guys some motivation to get over, haters. A lot of the times when you're doing great in life and your life is destined for greatness, you will have haters. You're gonna have people who come around you who may not be genuine. I'm talking about people hating. I'm talking about um, don't worry about haters. Today's date is the 31st. I'm talking about don't worry about haters. Don't let haters affect you. You know, one of the greatest things you can have in this lifetime is a positive mindset, right? Because when you're positive, it's nothing that no one else could do to affect you, right? There's a quote by Jim Rohn that says, um, learn to discipline your disappointment. There's people that I've totally believed in their greatness, believed in everything I knew they could do, then in the end, they betrayed you. You know what I mean? So you have to really focus, understand who the real people are around you, understand who really wants to see you win, and your time should go into those people who are reciprocal, those people who truly see the greatness in you, those people who are genuine, right? They want to see you win, they want to see you be great, right? If you just joined the live, guys, if you guys could drop a comment, if you guys have any questions. Brandon, what's up? Drop a comment, guys. If you guys have any questions, just drop a comment. um, I'm talking today about um, not letting haters, negative people bring you down. What's happening, Andrew? What's up? What's up, Andrew? Welcome. Welcome, Andrew. Andrew, where you watching from, Andrew? Where you watching from? Where you watching from, brother? All right, Brandon, you're from Japan. Maroff, where you watching from, Maroff? Where you guys watching from? So, whenever you're on your way up, right, the top is lonely, the bottom is crowded. You get what I mean? The top is lonely, the bottom is crowded. You can't let people, just kind of talk negatively about you. Even run certain type of jokes. I don't even let people joke around a certain way around me. I don't even, because again, when people tell jokes, a lot of the time the joke, there's some seriousness in that joke. So I don't even, I'm not saying that I'm this mean guy. It's just certain type of jokes that I don't allow because I value myself that much. So it's like if you come around me and you're moving incorrect, you got to get up from around me. I just don't like certain type of jokes. Who am I voting for? Yeah, I'm back. Silpa, yeah, I'm back, man. Who am I voting for? Um, I'm waiting to see what's going on. Let's put it that way. I haven't. I'm leaning towards Kamala because I'm not a Republican or I'm not a Democrat, right? I'm not a Republican or I'm not a Democrat. I am for who's for the country and who's for changes, to make the country a better place. I'm not a politician. I'm not, again, I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I think Kamala is saying some amazing things. I also feel like Trump is saying some amazing things, right? There's certain things obviously that I differ with Trump in certain aspects, but I would say that let me see what's Canny 3. young white girls are dead and 9 injured after being stabbed to death at a church party in Southport, England by a 17-year-old black male immigrant from Rwanda. What are your thoughts on this? Wow. You guys are asking some tough questions tonight. This is serious. This is serious. So let me just Candy, let me just, be serious here. So three white girls are dead and 9 injured after being stabbed to death at a church party in Southport, England, by a 17-year-old black male immigrant from Rwanda. What are your thoughts on this? All right. I guess you guys value my opinion, right? Because it's crazy, right? And I just want to say this before I address that, Kenny. I speak a lot about a lot of different topics, but I don't really get to speak when I come live. I don't really get to speak about these things. So I'm happy that you guys are asking me these questions and you value my opinion. I usually just kind of speak with my wife about it, but I always tell my wife I feel like I can make a huge impact if I spoke about the things that really was on my heart and I really valued. And I'm going to start doing that a little bit more on my live, speaking more about these types of things. All right. So now, what do I feel about the gentleman from Rwanda who stabbed these individuals? Number one, I feel like first thing, what's going on right now, there's a mass migration of people around the world. The first mass migration was the mass Atlantic, one of the first mass migrations of people around the world was the transatlantic slave trade, right? That was one of the major points in history where mass amounts of people were taken from one continent and distributed to another continent, right? So in 2024, the reason why I bring this up, in 2024, we're seeing a mass amounts of migration from different parts of the world, right? And I feel like a lot of the politicians are not taking the initiative to screen everybody who's coming through your borders, right? Because I'm all for immigration, right? I'm an immigrant myself. I'm from the Jamaica, West Indies. I am an immigrant. I'm all for immigration, people coming from other countries and making a better life in America, England, Canada. I'm all for it, right? But the problem that we have is that there are people that are coming over and we're not checking backgrounds. We're not looking at, if a person might have been a serial killer in their previous country. There's no record system to check. Like here in America, we have fingerprint. We have FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation. It is designed to link states. So even if somebody committed a crime in New Jersey and they went to New York, we still can track that person because there's a federal database. The problem that's happening around the world is that you have a mass exodus of people, usually coming from places where there are, high crime and different things like that. Now those individuals are moving into bigger populations, and it is harder to track a person who might have killed 50, 40 people in their country, and now they've come to England, the United States, or Canada. There's no way to check that background. So I think, the first step, Kenny, is really identifying, who people are. I think, there needs to be a national registry or a world registry where we can check, all right, this person is coming into the country. Is this person a danger to society? You get what I mean? So these are things that we need to start implementing and start talking about, even in politics or even as people, because again, everybody wants everybody wants a better life. Everybody wants to live a better life, freedom, freedom to practice religion. That's why the Pilgrims came to America. Freedom to practice religion, freedom of speech. Everybody wants to have that. But on top of that, we just have to make sure that we're keeping everybody safe by making sure we're screening everybody who's coming through. Are you DJ Academics? No, I am not DJ Academics. That's a good. So it is a sad situation there, Canny, that these individuals were murdered. Did they say exactly why this gentleman did that? Was because I haven't. I'm in America. I'm in New York. Did they say exactly? I have to read the story, but did they say exactly why this gentleman murdered these young women? Why are you mentioning it as white girls? Either you mention it with their Silpa, Kenny. Why are you mentioning it as white girls? Either you mention it with their nationality or names. Why is it about colors? Okay. Unbelievable answer. The best yet. Thanks for your reply. All the way best for you. Thank you, Kenny. And and the thing I think let me see, Selpa. I believe Kenny was just explaining, and that's the thing. We have to we and I want everybody to feel comfortable here, right? I want this to be a safe space. What happens a lot, Selpa, in life is that we all have different experiences, right? So the way we may explain something, so I don't think Candy meant anything by saying white girls. I believe, she's in Canada. That's what she knows, and she's explaining, what the way she saw it, right? So it is okay. It's if I said four black girls, right? It's just the way I interpreted it, the way I saw it and the way I explained it. So it's okay for someone, and it's okay. It's okay for someone to explain it the best way they see it fit. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's racism or anything like that. We have to give people a safe space in order to give, in order to express themselves. And it is a traumatic experience for anyone to go through something like this. So, it's just, give her the room to explain it. But I totally understand what you're saying, Selpa. Kenny, and I totally understand how you explained it. This is very much the problem. 500 came across the English Channel yesterday illegally on boats. Wow. Yeah, so it's the same thing here in New York, right? There's a lot happening here in New York as well. We had one migrant who was arrested over 30 times. One migrant. Because in New York right now, so she's saying it's just not racist, it's just a fact. All right. Um, we had over, we had a bunch of migrants come in. Let me see, how many migrants came into New York? So we had about 818 migrants and asylum seekers come into New York within the last couple of months, within the last year, right? And it has been, and I'm not saying there are wonderful people who are coming over, right? But there's a small pocket there's a small pocket that's causing crime and things like that in the city. We've had a few police officers shot. We've had a shooting in Times Square, which never happens because Times Square is a tourist area. Even if you've never been to New York, I'm sure you guys have heard of Times Square. We've had a shooting in Times Square. I think a 15-year-old from Venezuela was arrested. And a lot of the time, man, you know, when people are coming over, we are just not prepared to deal with 118,000 people. We just don't have the resources. I deal in real estate, and we have a huge housing crisis. So a lot of the time, a young man like that who, could have been pointed in the right direction, could have had an opportunity, could have gotten a piece of the American dream, is now sitting in a jail cell. Now we ask ourselves, who failed that young man, right? At 15 or 16 years old, he had his whole life ahead of him. He had his whole life ahead of him at 15 or 16. The question becomes, who really failed this young man? Was it the system? Because at 15 or 16, to go out there and do a shooting, it is very terrifying. It's terrifying for the public, and I'm sure it was terrifying for him. But what is it? What made him go out there and do this? At 15 or 16, sometimes kids can be very impressionable. They have adults that they value their opinion, and if the adults tell them to do something, they'll go out there and do it. So we have to kind of, at this point, we all have to take accountability as a society, because it takes a village to raise a child. It's and I know sometimes when these things happen, we're pointing a finger, but a lot of it we have to look at, where did we all drop the ball? You know what I mean? It's a lot of that, but it's a huge crisis here in New York that I hope they get under control. And I know it's a big thing coming up now with the elections. They're talking a lot about it as far as with the immigration, because with the way the immigration is set up now, it's people from all over the world that are just rushing to the U.S., Canada, England, right? It's a huge influx of people, because before it used to be just like the Mexican border. So when you go to like the Mexican border, it used to be just Mexicans coming across. Now, it's different nationalities that are actually coming across, which is fine, right? Everybody deserves a piece of the American pie. But again, like I said, it's just now, how are we screening people? What is it that we're doing to screen people to make sure that the general public is safe? We all have families, that live with us or live in a certain country. How is our families, safe? All right. So I think, what? When I go live more often, thank you, Kenny. I think you brought me to a space that I'm very passionate about, social topics. So I think you brought me to a place where we need to bring awareness to a lot of these things that are going on around the country. And I think, I feel, God has given me an outlet. I've been live streaming. I've been doing shows and things like that for over 15 years. I've been building this channel for over 15 years. And I think, God has given me a platform, and I want to use that platform to bring the voice to the voiceless, to speak up for those people who may not necessarily be able to speak for themselves. Be a voice for the voiceless, and really analyze these topics, really dive in and give you guys a real opinion on what I think should be happening. So, to make a long story short, Kenny, to your answer to your question again, we need a world registry where we can track a criminal based on fingerprint. Any country they go to, we check the fingerprint. We can see they were arrested in Singapore. They were arrested in Uganda. They were arrested over here. And based on that world registry, it now connects the world as a whole. Because somebody can commit a crime, in Nigeria, or not just Nigeria, but in Europe, in Germany, and come to the United States and start a totally new life, and no one would know. You get what I mean? So this is the danger of things like open borders. And there's nothing wrong. Again, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with getting a piece of the American dream. I came to America when I was 5. My green card didn't even have a fingerprint. Right in 2003 is when I got a fingerprint on my green card. I was so little they couldn't even take a fingerprint. My family came here for the American dream, so I love, it's immigrants that built this country, to be honest with you. But I feel in order to protect everybody's liberties and protect everybody, we need a world registry. And we need a world, like how we have the United Nations, which is the League of Nations that govern the world. They are the world army. And I want to talk about the United Nations. I'm going to do a live on the United Nations. I also want to talk to you guys about the IMF, the International Monetary Fund. You guys are like, I usually come on here and talk about real estate, but there's a lot of knowledge here. And this is stuff that I usually talk to my dad about, my wife. Sometimes my wife doesn't want to hear it, but I love that you guys really want to hear about it. So I want to talk to you guys. I want to do a live on the International Monetary Fund, on how the International Monetary Funds lends money to countries and keeps countries in debt. And I also want to talk about the United Nations, NATO, right? I want to talk about, how maybe we need, like, NATO was created after World War II to create world peace, right? First, it was the United Nations after World War II, and it was created so another Hitler may never rise again. So we created the United Nations to police the world. Anytime there's a tyrant or there is someone threatening world peace, we have the United Nations now, NATO, over 60 countries, United States, England, um, all of these countries, the United Powers, over 60 countries come together to fight any tyrant who decides to threaten world peace. Right? What people don't understand, I'm going into that whole live, right? What people don't understand is World War II nearly wiped half the world's population. That's how many people died in World War II. So there's no way that we can allow another Hitler to rise and threaten world peace, right? So what I'm trying to say, the reason why I jump into this, I'm all over the place. Disregard that. We'll go into a live with that. But what I'm trying to say is that we need a world police that tracks international criminals. We do have Interpol, but I don't think Interpol is more going after criminal organizations, corporate crime, things like that. But we don't have an international task force that's going after single people, where we have a fingerprint system, we have a background check, and we can simply tell, okay, this person's at our border. This is Christopher Jones or Bob Green, and Bob Green has 10 prior arrests, and he killed 5 people in wherever, in some island, and he's now not going to be able to enter this country because we're going to detain him, right? So that's what I'm saying. We need some sort of world system that works together. So let's see. Jason J. Damn, I'm a subscribe. You touch on interesting topics and give clear and accurate explanations. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Please subscribe. Canny Godman, that's an amazing answer, which makes perfect sense. All the best to you. Thank you, Canny. Canny, make sure you subscribe. I appreciate all of you. Tiki, you can leave. Tiki, you're yapping, brother. Let's make a long story short. It's all right, man. I appreciate all the comments, and I always tell people, man, a blessing isn't truly a blessing, and I've acquired all this knowledge, and I want to be able to share it with you guys. And A blessing isn't truly a blessing a blessing isn't truly a blessing until you can share it. And I just want to continue to share. Every time I come on here, I usually talk about real estate and financial literacy. But I guess I'm going to start talking more about things that are going on, current events, history, how we can prevent certain things. And I really want to talk about the IMF. I want to talk about a lot of things that's happening, in the Caribbean. Um, how China. You know what? Like, let me say this, right? Because my mom always says, because I was always that kid. I was always like, I'll talk about a lot of different things, and I study a lot of different things. My mom would tell me, don't talk about it on camera, but I believe there's a lot going on in the Caribbean with places like China, where they're opening up businesses in the Caribbean and exploiting a lot of the people in the Caribbean, paying them less to nothing to work. So these are things that I want to cover. But I'm going to get ready to jump off, guys. But I'll put together a list of things that I want to talk to you guys about, and we'll jump right into it. And I appreciate all of you guys for watching. Kenny, Jason, let me see, Anoop, India in the building, England, uh, T1 Shoot, Selpa, um, let's see, Discovery Jake. All right, all of you guys. And if any of you are looking to purchase real estate, or you know anybody that's looking to purchase real estate, definitely reach out to me. Or if you have any questions about real estate, feel free to give me a ring. All right, guys. So I'll see you guys on the beaches of the world, and definitely at the bank.